All right, good deal. Hello, guys, and Kyle from 9.9 Comics here, and of course, Doug Wagner, one of my favorite writers, writer of Plastic, The Hard Place, and of course, World of Warcraft Bloodsworn, which I haven't read yet, and Witchblade and Red Sonja, which is a good duo to be a team on. Those comics do very well for, especially how obscure they are. They do very well, especially at this comic shop. But I'm glad to see you here today, Doug. I'm glad we could talk face to face finally. I mean, I think we've been friends for like 2 years now or something like that, but we just always talk on Facebook and stuff. So I guess tell everyone hi and what's up.
Hey everybody, this is Doug. I'm super excited to be on the podcast with you guys and see what kind of craziness we can talk about.
Yeah. So today's main focus is about the Ride Volume 2, which is coming out soon. But I think let's first start off. Let's back up a little bit. I think the best part about the second volume is, of course, it's going to be a continuation of your story that you had in the first volume, which I think was it like 3 or 4 comics. I can't remember. It was a lot of. I think you had more work in there than the other writers, which was personally why I liked it the most. But
Thank you.
but what I liked, I think what I liked about the first ride the most was how it felt a lot like it had some 80s action movie vibe going to it, especially with the teamwork between Vega and I forgot her partner's name. What's her partner's name again? I'm sorry.
Frank.
Frank. It
Yep.
was he was a real tough cop guy, and she's kind of like trying to, like, it's a female in the police force, so she's trying to just like tough, like be tougher than the guys and not try to get run over and by the masculinity of the police force. So she's real hard, and I really like her for that. She's got conviction. And I'm glad to see we're going to see more Vega in the second volume. But can you give us a quick synopsis of the second volume? Can you tell us anything that's not too spoilerish, but give us an idea of what we're going to get into?
Yeah, I mean, what's cool about this one is, like you said, I mean, it's the 15th anniversary of the first ride. It's even coming out on the same month.
Right.
So that's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
we decided we were going to go back and talk about Vega, who in the first book, as you remember, like, she has this older partner. She's like the young, up and coming detective, and she thinks she knows everything, but of course she doesn't.
Right.
And she gets involved in this trying to save her brother in another town kind of thing.
Right.
And she ends up killing this guy, killing the villain in that one.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're 15 years later, so now she's just getting out of prison for that.
Oh, so this is like takes just as long in the comic as it's been in real life, basically.
Yes, exactly.
So, yeah, that's pretty insane. I didn't know that. But I really liked what I really liked about the first ride is how much Vega like carried on Frank's mission even after he died, which I felt it was a good choice. Like having her sacrifice the car as cover and blow it up, so just to send it off with him. I really like that. Like at first I was like, oh no, the Camaro. I was like, oh no, but no, it needs to go. It needs to go. But what's so she's gonna be getting out of prison. What's her aim now? Is she gonna be is Frank gonna be not necessarily a literal ghost in this, but is she gonna be in her mind at all? Is he gonna be in this comic at all, like giving her pointers still? Or anything like that? Are we gonna see more
I mean,
Frank?
what's kind of
okay, cool.
Yeah, what's going to be fun about it is, she's gotten out of prison after 15 years,
Mm-hmm.
and what you'll find out, as I did more research with a lot of people that have spent that time in prison, like, you come out and you're kind of lost, like, because your life's been drastically changed, right? Like, she can no longer be a cop.
Right.
That's all she's ever wanted to be.
Right.
Now what? And at the same time, like, she still remembers all these pointers. Like, Frank had 3 rules, for being a cop, and like she remembers them all.
Mm-hmm.
And so she still applies them to this day, kind of like, it's almost like he was kind of like a father figure.
Right.
And, those rules served her well in jail, and we'll see how they serve her once she gets out.
Oh, cool. So
now,
are we going to see a little bit of, I'm sorry to interrupt you, are we going to see a little bit of her in jail when it first starts?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No, we start right off the bat where she's already a bouncer at what I call an eclectic dance club. It's not a strip club.
Okay.
Dance club.
Yes.
So it's kind of like the only thing that really fits. Kind of like, that's the closest she feels like she can get to being a cop after having, a felony on her record.
Right. Right. And of course, I saw the cover art for it, which looks really good of her. Is that Vega standing in that costume with a very promiscuous costume with I think she's got like 2 Uzis or something like that. Is that, I think is a unicorn costume? I'm sorry, I would pull it up right now, but I don't want to interrupt the stream. But that this is Adam Hughes is going to be doing cover art. Is he going to be doing also inside art for this at all?
Yep, we have. What's really neat about this one is we're going to have there's going to be a main feature that's that one's focused on Vega,
right?
And then there's going to be 6-page backups in each one, and the first one's by Adam Hughes, and the cover you saw, that's actually Sparkles, unicorn name.
Okay,
that's one of the dancers from the club.
Okay,
and so it's kind of going to be her origin story, how she came to be somebody that runs around in a unicorn onesie.
Right. And for those of you who don't know who Adam Hughes is, he's done cover art for Catwoman and Wonder Woman. Besides DC, he's also worked for Marvel, Dark Horse, Lucasfilm, WE Pictures, and Playboy Magazine, just to name a few of them. Just little names, don't worry about them. No one's ever heard of them. And then also, I'd like to point out, speaking of plastic, Doug Wagner, Daniel Hilliard is also going to be he's going to be doing the art inside art for this, which I was pretty excited because I'm good friends with Daniel, and I'll see what he's up to every now and again. And I talked to him, I think it was like 4 months ago, and I was seeing what he was up to, and I was like, so are you going to be doing anything with Doug soon? And I didn't say that literally, but I kind of got him to say something, and he was like, oh wait, I think I've said too much, don't tell anybody. I'm like, all right, your secret's safe with me. So I knew you guys were getting together for something, I just didn't know what it was, and I'm glad it's this is pretty awesome. But yeah, so is Daniel doing the cover? Is he going to be doing the inside art for the entire thing, or it's going to be Adam Hughes? Is he going to be doing any writing? And is he going to be doing of course he's going to be doing the cover art, but is he going to be doing the inside art as well for the other ones? I'm confused.
So
I think I confused myself.
It's okay. Daniel's going to do 16 pages in each issue. That's going to be the main story.
Okay.
And so it's Daniel Hilliard, Laura Martin, which everybody should know, one of the best colorists in the world.
Yes.
She was also from Plastic. And Ed Dukeshire, who's a letterer of Plastic, he's also lettering this book.
Crazy Cat Lady, I think, was her. Yeah. Was her moniker.
Yep.
Yeah. But
and then Adam Hughes is going to do the first 6-page backup.
Mm-hmm.
And then Chris Bruner is going to do the second one. Cully Hamner, who's done Batman, and I think he just did, The Signal? Batman and the Signal.
I started reading The Signal, but I got caught up with a different comic, and I'm totally drawing a blank now. We go through.
He was definitely the artist on that.
We go through so many comics. It's insane. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Kelly Hamner's going to do the third one. Tom Coker is going to do the fourth one, and then we're bringing in somebody who's really cool. I'm really excited about this because it's going to kind of be like his big first big image book. Doug Dabbs is going to be doing the fifth one, and so we have we try to get a really good diverse crew.
Yeah, so it's a lot like the first volume.
Yeah,
and that's what I like. That's what I like so much about it. In fact, I think I have it right here in front of me. This is one of the signed copies that Doug sent me for winning the selfie for buying the actual trade. But it starts out looking a lot like this. Uh-oh, I lost an ear. Come back. Come back. It's caught on my coat. All right. So it starts off kind of like that, and it's great art, but then it side blinds you with some what I call TMNT like art later on, where it's like, whoa, it's a crescendo of grunge. This book is, and it's
that's
great.
The second volume. So the second volume is nothing but me and Brian Stelfreeze.
Uh-huh. Come on.
You're looking for you need the first trade.
Is this? Oh yeah, it is. Dang. I left it at home.
Yeah, the first trade.
I grabbed the wrong one.
I mean, the first trade's got Brian Stelfreeze, Cully Hamner. It's got covers by Adam Hughes. It's got Jason Pearson, Georges Genty, Dexter Vines, Chris Bruner, who did one of my favorite stories in their period. So I was glad to get him on the second this new ride story.
Mm-hmm.
But man, dude, yeah, that first one is unbelievable.
Yeah,
with the talent.
Yeah, it's insane. I really like how, like I was saying, I think my favorite one to read was yours, but my favorite one to enjoy was I wish I had the trade on me. It almost reminisced of the old first TMNT art. It was real grungy and dark and everything, and it almost felt kind of Frank Millerish, especially with like the twisted faces sometimes when they're screaming. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. And at when are you going to be? When is it going to be released? Let everyone know to expect it to see it on the shelves.
I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be June 12th.
Okay, let me.
And that's
Matt. Can you double check that for us? Neither of us know.
Yeah,
both of our jobs, and we don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's June 12th. So because it's the day I actually leave to go to Heroes Con. So.
Okay. And I just wanted to hold that thought really quick. Anyone in the chat, if you just wanted to think of any questions that you would like to ask Doug before we go, because we will be wrapping up here soon, just let us know now. I've got 2 people on it watching the chat, and they're gonna, I guess, grab whatever best questions they can. But I'm sorry, go back to your previous thought.
Which is really, like I said, I mean, it's exactly the 15th anniversary from the first one. So the first time we launched the ride, it happened at Heroes Con. And so what's kind of cool is it's going to come full circle where we're going to have the 15th anniversary, and it's going to launch for Heroes Con this year too.
Yeah, I like it when stuff really lines up like that.
Oh yeah, so we got pretty lucky there. But yeah, I mean, dude, it's so cool to go back to the same story or the same character and kind of revisit them. Hopefully, I wrote it so that people can read it without having to read anything previously.
Mm-hmm.
That was my goal. But I have to wait and see what you guys think when you get it.
Right, and that was kind of my hope when I heard about the second volume was, I hope it's a continuation of Vega's storyline, because I didn't know if you're going to be following Vega or the Camaro or both, but even though the Camaro is technically dead, but whatever. Spoilers. I'm sorry I spoiled it for you guys.
Well, and you just showed the second volume of the ride, the second trade.
Yeah,
if you go back in that one, that actually ties into the end of the first issue. So the Die Valkyrie story.
Yeah.
With the 3 girls and the one that's got like the little ferret and stuff.
Right.
If you read that one actually took place after the first ride, and her dad was repairing the car.
Yeah. My favorite, the one that really hit home for me the most was in the first trade, where it starts off with all you see is the Camaro and a pair of BDUs sticking out from under it, and kids talking to him, and it's basically about, it goes back, I think is that Nam or Korea? What war is that? Do you know?
I'm pretty sure it was Nam.
Yeah, so it goes back to Nam, where it shows this soldier reading, I think it was a nudie mag or something, and he was admiring the Camaro ad in it, and they take it from him, and he holds on to. He's like, this is gonna be the car when I get out of here. That's the car I'm gonna buy. I think he said in like 3 months or something like that. It's the date's kind of fogging my head, but it's real cool because there's this. What's up? Oh yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Anyway, I think I've already asked this question, and he said no. But where was I? Oh, and there's this small Vietnamese kid who's just peddling sodas and beers on the side of the road, and he sells him a bad Coke that explodes in his face, and he throws it at him, and he not hates this kid, but he's like, screw this kid selling me a bad whatever, and he ends up anyway, the kid steps on a landmine, he saves the kid, and then the twist of the story was the kid under the car was the kid from Vietnam who is now the dude adopted, and the dude has his legs. It's a beautiful story. It's like
it is June 12th.
Yes, it is June 12th. The Ride Volume 2 is coming out. But Anyway, it's the day after your birthday. That'll be your second birthday present. But do we have any questions?
Just Plastic Vol2.
Yeah. So everyone wants to know about is there going to be any continuation to Plastic?
That's always a tricky one.
Yeah.
Because there's things involved that I didn't know about until I started talking to Image, because the first trade did so well that we're like, hey, we'd like to do a second one.
Mm-hmm.
And Image came back and kind of showed us how typically sequels do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you release it too close to the first one, what happens is, like, a lot of retailers will go back and just look at where number 5 ended,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where they order number 1.
Right.
And so that becomes a problem with typical attrition. And so at the moment, it's on hold.
Okay.
So I'll just say that.
Okay.
Yeah,
No,
like,
these are words that I like. Like I was expecting a hard no, just because, especially the way it ended. But there's always another way you can go, especially with to bring a different story in God Country by Donnie Cates. I asked him, I'm like, is there gonna there's got to be a sequel? He's like, no, it's done. God Country's done with. I'm not doing it anymore. But it's like, you could do, if you look at that story, stuff with like Valifax the Sword, you could do an entire like 3 story arcs on just you could do an entire comic arc and just keep it going for all eternity about Valifax, because he is the sword of all time. I mean, he opened up so many doors for that comic. It's a shame that he would just let it like lie flat like that. But again, I would say the same thing with Plastic. Like, I would follow where the girl went, and see what she did, because I mean, for her to be so okay with how insane he was, it's almost like she's got to be a little crazy herself. Like there was a little bit of I mean, the bond they formed together. He's got to be in there at some point. I mean, he's got to have stuck in there. But yeah, but is Plastic 2 the only question you really have?
No, there's cons in Florida.
Oh, so do you plan on being at any cons in Florida?
And we know Jake Estrada contacted him for Space Coast Comic Con, but unfortunately he was tied up.
Yeah, and our good friend Jake Estrada tried to get you over here, but you're a busy man, and we understand. So, but any other cons nearby? I mean, I'd be willing to drive to Miami to see you. So, are you going to be in Florida at all? At all?
Not yet.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, so far I've only planned for 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to do more than that. It's just been such a busy first half of the year.
Yeah, you don't want to overbook yourself.
Yeah. Well, it's just trying to, I got to get the book done first.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
if I don't have a book, it doesn't make sense to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So,
And you also don't want to run into that trend that's happening a lot lately, where people will overbook themselves for conventions and then just weed off the ones that they can't make it, and then they get a lot of hate for that, and it's just not cool.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's like, especially yeah, and you don't want to do that. But
You have a question from
Anthony Burdick.
a question from Anthony Burdick.
Ask him what he's been reading lately.
Well, do you read comics, and what have you been reading lately?
Oh Lord. Yes, I love comics. Comics is the center of my universe. As you know, I only write for comics. That's all I really care about. I read a ton.
Uh-huh.
Matter of fact, I've got like 3 stacks behind me that I'm still waiting to dive into.
The weight stack,
I
know that life. Yeah, you should see my room. It's bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad because I tend to like the typical stuff. So, like, I love Brian K. Vaughan.
Mm-hmm.
So all of his books from Image I immediately pick up. I'm lucky enough to be some friends with some folks that write for Image. I think the same month that The Ride's coming out, there's also a book called Thumbs coming out by Sean Lewis.
Okay.
If you haven't checked that out, dude, like, I absolutely loved it. Like, I read that one and I was like, wow, this is a really cool book.
Okay.
I loved everything about it.
Yeah, well,
The
I guess
art,
we'll have to check it
story.
out.
Yeah.
And Chris Hughes, who wants to know if he watched the last season of Game of Thrones as a writer and how he felt about it.
Oh no. Oh no. Did you hear that, Doug? Don't tell me you heard
Yeah.
that.
This is an easy one. I'm one of those very few people on the planet that couldn't get into the show. So I watched the first season and I didn't like it.
Really?
Yeah. So I was just like, yeah, this isn't for me.
Yeah, I don't even know if I even gave it a shot. And if I did, I was probably half asleep. I watched 2 episodes and I don't even remember them, so I guess that speaks volumes. But
we got Jonathan Hedrick. He's asking, what characters would Doug like to write for DC or Marvel?
if
From
Marvel
Jonathan
or
Hendrick.
DC came from Jonathan Hendrick
Yep.
came up to you and offered you some work, would you take it? Because I know it's a really good place to be in the indie market right now, especially for Image, Aftershock, Scout, Mad Cave, really good places to be. But
Would you take it, and what
yeah,
would you want to
would
write?
you take it, and what would you want to write? Like,
Either
I know they
DC
don't.
or Marvel.
Yeah, for either DC or Marvel.
Yeah, I mean, and of course, I've worked for DC for a good 10 years doing a lot of custom work. So I got to work.
Did you do a little Batman?
Yeah, I did a little Batman. I got to work on with the TV show people and did some stuff for their online social media stuff. That was pretty cool. But now, I won't lie, like I love doing creator-owned books. So that's always kind of like what I prefer.
Yeah.
Now, there are, like if DC and Marvel were to offer me the right project, of course I would jump on it. But for me, I'd want like, what would scare me about something like Batman or Superman is I know that they have like, you can only do so much, right?
Yeah.
I'd be like, give me a character you don't care about and let me play.
Yeah, and that's what's it seems like they're kind of doing that nowadays. They're especially they're pulling from they're not stupid. They're seeing the success from the indie market right now, especially for the past 3-4 years. And they're pulling. And I mean, that's how Donny Cates got started. I mean, he really wasn't a big deal. I mean, I remember it was like when Redneck came out, right after Redneck, and he just blew up like immensely. And then he was writing.
Oh yeah.
Then he's doing Thanos and Infinity War and all that, and it's insane. But yeah, I agree with you. It's better to be in the creator owned because you don't have any rules you have to follow, like you said, Batman or Superman, when there's a literal Bible of what you can and cannot say, and it's like, how am I supposed to be creative?
Yeah, that's honestly, it's tougher for me to do that kind of stuff because I have done it in the past, and it is tougher for me to write a good story when I have a lot of limitations coming out of the gate. So I'd be like, give me a character that you don't care about so I can play with. And then, of course, for me, I grew up an X-Men fan. Like that was, if I could ever get a chance to write an X-Men book, even for like 4 to 6 issues, like that would be a dream come
We
true
got
for me.
another question from Jonathan.
That would be
Hendrick.
cool. Oh, we got another. Oh, and anybody have another question? Get them in because we are going to be wrapping soon.
And so Jonathan Hendrick would like to know any advice on how to break into comics as a writer.
Oh, our friend Jonathan Hendrick, who is an awesome writer, wrote a piece on the shop. He was wondering is there any advice you can give him for breaking into writing for comics professionally?
Yeah. Well, what's cool about this is I got to tinker with this idea for a little while because I actually taught a comic class for 5 years at a local art school. And what I can tell you is, number one, I don't think there's a harder industry to break into than comics as a writer. Hands down, I mean, novels, TV, film, those are easier to break into than comics because people think comics is a big industry, but it's actually really, really small.
Mm-hmm.
When people typically talk about breaking in, they're talking about like Marvel or DC.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the hardest, hands down. I mean, they've got the people that they use, and those guys are writing 3 to 7 books.
Mm-hmm.
My number one piece of advice is stop waiting for somebody to give you permission. Just start making comics. That's how the ride started out. Me and Kevin Gardner sat down and he said, "Hey man, let's make a comic," and we made a comic. That was it.
Yeah. I mean,
now you can do web comics.
Yeah.
For free.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's so cheap to start a website and stuff. Just start doing it. Find your artists and start making comics. Because if you go back, and I'm sure you guys know this better than I do, but you look at Matt Fraction, Robert Kirkman, Brian Michael Bendis. Where did all those guys start? They started by doing their own comics. Period. Like they started Powers. With Brian Michael Bendis, he's like, I'm just going to write my own comic, and I don't care if anybody ever sees it. Now he's, writing everything.
Right.
Matt Fraction, same thing. Started writing, doing his own comics completely on his own, and somebody noticed his stuff, and they hired him. So you got to do comics to break into comics. I know that sounds crazy, but you just got to start making them.
Right. So, you said you had a question.
Yes,
man.
so my question is, what are the chances of any form of Plastic Vol2 ever existing?
Yeah, we already had that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed it.
You missed
I
it?
had headphones on. I missed
Yes.
it. I was kind of like working. What was the answer? I didn't hear it.
On hold.
Oh, that's fair. I think we're good. Tell them thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Yeah, I guess that's it. I guess the questions stop
And
rolling
Jonathan
in.
gave his thanks.
And yeah, and Jonathan says thank you for the awesome answer. Answer. I cannot speak. You wanna say hi, Gideon?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Gideon wants to say hi because he loves plastic so much.
Hi.
Hi,
It meant a
Gideon.
lot
Nice
to
to
me.
meet you.
It was incredible, and it's probably my favorite comic I've ever read. Like,
Oh, thank you so much, man. That means a lot.
I can't hear him.
I know. He says thank you. It means a lot.
Thank you. It means a lot to me.
Now you need to read The Hard Place. which
I
have.
do. I read like the first two.
Oh,
or
that's
three
what
issues.
that's what the raffle was for buying The Hard Place.
I think I read the first 2 or 3 issues, but I definitely need to.
I have the
finish
trade
it.
now.
I'm gonna
so
read
I'll
that
just give
tonight.
you the trade.
I'll read that tonight.
Okay. But anyway, thank you guys for everyone watching, and thank you, Doug, for being with us today, putting time aside and talking with us about the ride. I personally can't wait for it to come because I'm excited to see where Vega's been, especially after 15 years. It's been a long time.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to say to anybody while you're like? Is there any side projects you're working on that you wanna give a shout out for?
I can't yet, but, we'll deal with that whether they come out.
Yeah, right. I'm sure.
No, dude, I really appreciate you having me on, and it's been a pleasure. So thanks so much.
Yeah, well, thanks, Doug. Good friend of the shop. And remember, guys, to watch 9.9 Comics with Chris and Kyle comes on every week, and usually around Sunday when I can put it out. Wasn't up last week because there was some hardware difficulty with my computer. I basically had to wipe the whole thing and reset it, which you know how fun that is. But we just recorded yesterday, so it should be up, guys.
Your mom chimed in and said thank you.
My mom's on the chat.
Jacqueline Roberts says
Aw.
thank you.
Hi, Mom.
That's awesome.
But yeah, thanks, Doug, for being with us, and you have a good one. And actually, yeah, well, bye, guys, and I'm just gonna stop the stream really quick. Bye, stream.